Hey, what's up? Adam Pullman here. Welcome to the channel. I'm really excited to dive into today's video because most people have no clue what online coaching costs or what should or should not be included. Most people are completely lost and they may not know why the price matters more than they might think. And that might be the case for you as well. So in today's video, we're going to dive into online coaching, in-person training, the costs, the differences between the two, how to spot fakes like influencers, and find real actual trainers who care about you, your life, and your results. We're also going to talk about why getting help like this can be a significant investment into the quality of your life, not just an expense. So let's go ahead and dive in. First, a bit of background on me and who I am. If you don't know me, again, my name is Adam Pullman. I have been training in person and online for over 10 years now. So I've been doing this for a long time. This is my wheelhouse. This is my expertise. This is my profession. That's one thing you really want to look out for when you are trying to find an online coach or trainer that can be a good fit for you, is it's their profession. They're not just someone who's in really good shape and they kind of just like make generic programs and apparel and make money off of it. Like, this is something that they do for a living. They're dedicated to it. It is their livelihood, just like it would be for another entrepreneur or an engineer or a professor. Like, it is what they do. They're really freaking good at it. So anyway, I've been doing this for over 10 years now, and I had my own transformation when I was starting personal training to kind of better help understand what it takes to get people some serious results. So I lost a good 40 pounds of body fat, put on some significant muscle, and I've been able to maintain this physique for years and years and years now. And these are some of my client transformations over the last few years that I've been able to really be proud of, because being a trainer, you get to help people with one of the most important, if not the most important part of their lives. That's their body and their health. Their body, your body, is the vehicle in which you experience life. And so for us to be able to have an impact on that, we understand, at least trainers who care, we understand the weight and the significance of that. And we take great joy in helping people not just look better in the mirror, but feel better and improve every aspect of their life as a result of the changes that they make in their health, their fitness, and nutrition. As you know, whether you're someone who's in great shape or you felt like your health has slipped for a really long time, you know that the body that you're in and the health that you have bleeds into every other area of life. Your work, your productivity, your confidence, your relationships, dating, like everything. It affects everything. So we understand how significant that is, and we care about that, and we care about you. And that's one of the reasons I continue to do what I do, because I freaking love it. And I love seeing how people's lives change as a result of improving their health. A little bit of a tangent there, but it was on the heart. So just wanted to share it. So let's go ahead and dive in here a little bit more into the breaking down of different options. So usually out there you have three different options when it comes to getting help with your fitness and your nutrition in order to lose body fat, build muscle, or achieve whatever result you have. The first is going to be in-person training here. Okay, now again, that's how I started out. I started training in person in a semi big box gym. Like, we had several locations in the area, but it was locally owned. It wasn't a big chain. But anyway, in-person training can cost you anywhere from $50 to $120 an hour, if not more. That's just a general range. And it really kind of depends on where you live. So like cost of living, and then the experience, expertise, and the value of this trainer. So for example, someone who has been training in LA for a long time and is really good at what they do, they have a lot of education, a lot of certifications, a lot of experience, they're going to cost a lot more than someone who's in, some tiny town in Indiana who's just starting. So that's kind of the ends of the spectrum there. I've seen trainers charge more than $120 an hour, but that's just a general range that you can expect for the most part. One thing to keep in mind too with in-person training is that usually big box gyms, or wherever they're employed, they're an employee of the gym's going to take a decent chunk of their hourly rate. So you're paying for a membership, and then you're also paying the gym to work with the trainer. And the trainer's not making them all the money that you're giving them. So that kind of sucks. So if you're looking for an in-person trainer and you care about that, it can be helpful to find a trainer that is contracted. So usually what that means is they're just a contractor of the gym, and they will just pay rent, and then they keep their hourly rate or whatever it is that you're paying them. Usually clients like to know that the money that they're paying their trainer just stays with the trainer and doesn't go back to the gym when they, get their paychecks. So this can be anywhere from hundreds to thousands per month. If you, let's say, for example, you see an in-person trainer that charges $100 an hour and you see him or her once per week, that can be $400 a month just for that one session. So there are some significant limitations that come with in-person training. And this is a huge reason why I transitioned into the high-level coaching here on the right, which we'll talk about here in a minute or two. Because when you're an in-person trainer, in order to make a living and make the money you want to make and elevate your career, you have to be training people every single hour of every single day. And it's a lot, right? So you might be training people from 5 a.m. To 6 p.m. It might not be straight. You might have a few breaks here and there, but it is a lot. It's a lot of hours, and it's pretty darn exhausting. And you're only training those people for that hour that they're there. Now, a trainer might give you a workout program and other things that you can do outside of there, but they're usually not going to go above and beyond because they're so limited, right? They're not getting paid for that either. So they're training 8 clients for 8 hours a day. They need to go home to their families and decompress and turn work off just like you do. They're not going to have the bandwidth to also give you nutrition help and have accountability outside of that. There isn't time, assuming they want to have a life outside of being a trainer. And then also they're not getting paid for that. So it's really difficult to get a comprehensive approach when you're strictly doing in-person training. Okay. Now, this usually gets people to be like, oh, okay, then let me try an online plan. The world of online coaching and fitness influencing is very muddy right now. With the rise of influencers has come a rise of very cheap cookie cutter online plans that don't get people the results and the value that they think they should get. And this is why usually people end up thinking that online coaching is dirt cheap when it's not. It's a very high value thing and it can be costly, and it should be. And we'll talk about why it should be here in the next few minutes. But cheap online plans can be anywhere from $50 to $200 a month. They're really, really, really cheap. And they're usually cookie cutter with minimal support. Because what happens is these influencers, or even sometimes trainers who amass these huge followings, usually they're chasing volume, just like Planet Fitness is chasing volume. They're going to slash their prices, and they're not going to give you everything you might normally have, but they're going to give you just enough to where if you really go out of your own way to get the results that you want to, you can probably get them. And they're going to try to get as many people as possible with that model. And the reason that you're going to get minimal support is just because if you have hundreds and hundreds of people in this program, you can't have check-ins with them. You can't get on one-on-one calls with them. You don't have the bandwidth to do it. So usually the cheaper it is, the less touch points you are going to get from this coach or trainer or influencer or whatever it is. And it tends to be more of a program than it is coaching. So it's something that is kind of pre-made, and they put people into that program and have that program spit out every once in a while people who get great results. So it's not really coaching. It's a cookie cutter pre-made plan that you are changing your life to do. Whereas high level coaching is very different. So this can cost anywhere from $300 on the very low end to thousands of dollars per month. And again, that's going to depend on the experience of the coach or trainer, how good they are and how good their service is, their certifications, things like that. Also, probably the value that the trainer sees in what they do. Again, you have to consider your health impacts every single freaking area of your life. When you're not feeling well, every other area of your life suffers. Your relationship with your kids, your work, your productivity, your marriage, it's all going to suffer. Whether you want to believe it or not, it's going to suffer. Whereas on the flip, if your health is sound, you're feeling confident in your physique, your mental clarity is good, your blood work is good, it's going to positively affect all those areas in your life as well. So it's very high value. And coaches who understand that usually are going to be on the higher end, because it's like, hey, I'm literally changing your life, right? I'm going to help you change your life. You're going to do the work necessary. Usually coaches who are a little bit more insecure or just starting out might be a little cheaper. And there's nothing wrong with that at all. Just something to consider. But I would look out for the cheaper end here, because what you have to consider with online coaching is that you are getting this trainer's time, just like you would with in-person training. The more time they give you, the more costly it's going to be. But that's usually good, because the more time they give you, the more likely you are to succeed, right? So there's a study that looked at different levels of likelihood when it comes to reaching goals. And they found that when you meet with someone regularly, an accountability partner that's a third party, and you meet with them regularly, you have weekly touch points with them, it takes your likelihood of success from 65% to 95%. That's significant. So if you think that you're going to have a grand old time just getting some random plan and doing it on your own. It's not too different from just going to ChatGPT, pulling up a plan and doing it on your own. So why even really pay for it? What you're paying for is the accountability, the feedback, the adjustments, the coaching. That's what you're paying for. And it's going to include most anything that you need, not just workouts based on your lifestyle, your preferences, your willingness, your tolerance, your limitations, the equipment that you have. It's going to have your nutrition. It's going to have your training program. You're going to have weekly checkpoints with them, whether it's simply over messaging or email, or they go out of their way and they get on Zoom calls with you as well, which I like to do because I want to know my clients as people, not just cogs in a fitness program wheel. And so I get on weekly Zoom calls with them, and it's really not a program. It's not something like, for example, before this recording this, I had someone get on a call and they were like, well, what does the program look like? I want to make sure I can commit to it. It's like, there isn't a program. Right? I'm tailoring everything based on you, the individual. I might have a client that is willing to sacrifice most anything in their life to get to their goals sooner, and they're willing to work out 6 days a week for an hour and a half. And I might have someone who's really not willing to sacrifice a lot in their life, and they're willing to go to the gym for 2 days a week for 20 minutes. I'm going to tailor those programs completely differently. I'm not going to promise that they're going to have the same outcomes, because obviously they're not, but I'm going to tailor whatever I'm doing for the individual that I am coaching. So it's not a pre-made program. It is adaptive coaching. So those are the general overviews and the breaking down of the options. Now, good coaching should be freaking expensive. Honestly, it should be expensive because it's about outcomes and benefits. I already touched on this, but it's going to benefit and bless every single area of your life when you change your health, your body composition, and keep it for the long haul, for years and years to come. One thing you have to consider is, like, if you could buy back, right, your energy, your confidence, your body, right, the relationships you had, the clarity that you had, the productivity you had for X amount of dollars per month, would that be worth it to you? You just have to consider that. Is it worth not going to happy hour and spending that much money there? Is it worth not getting all the Amazon orders? Is it worth not door dashing 2 times a week? All that stuff can easily cost hundreds, if not thousands of dollars per month. There's a lot of fat you can trim, but you have to consider, would it be worth it to you? Some people, especially in today's day and age, and especially in America, the more obese we get, the more our perceptions get skewed. For some people, that's not worth it. They'd rather just coast and kind of do what they're doing and live their life. And if they die at 65, like whatever, like hopefully it's 75, but it might be, they don't care. And if that's you, that's fine. That's your prerogative. But if you're like, this really freaking matters to me, you need to consider, like, what are you willing to trade? Because everything in life has a trade-off. And every single time I have worked with somebody who has transformed the way they look, feel, and move, they have always said, every single time, they've always said, I would have paid 2, 3, 4, sometimes one person said even 5x what I paid, because how I feel now and the difference in my life now is so worth it. So is it worth it to you? You also have to consider the long-term cost of inaction. If you don't do anything and things stay the same, things potentially get worse, what's the cost of that? How is that going to impact your day-to-day life? How is that going to impact your medical bills? How is that going to impact, again, your marriage? How is that going to impact your work? How is that going to impact your confidence? How is that going to impact your ability to do things with your kids? There is a cost of inaction, just like there's a cost of action as far as the financial piece goes. Now, here's how you can find the right coach. Let's start with red flags, okay? Some red flags: low touch. If they're not communicating with you often, at the very least, they should be offering a way for you to message them whenever you need anything. Okay, now obviously don't expect them to respond at 2 a.m. on a Saturday morning. They have a life and a family, and they need to turn off from work too. But they should be able to offer you a means of communication whenever you need it. If they're not willing to do more than that, that might be a red flag, okay? Again, that's why I get on Zoom calls with my clients, because having that face-to-face interaction, even if it's over Zoom, and being able to handle problems and discover solutions and implement them in real time drastically improves their likelihood of success. So it's like, why would I not do that? But that also means people are going to pay more because I'm sitting down and giving you my time. Now, do they flaunt their lifestyle rather than like what they're doing with clients? Do they talk about their vacations and they show off all the fancy meals that they're having? They show off their cars. Like, to me, that screams, I don't have clients. Because people who have clients aren't going to be having the time to do all those insane things. They're going to be talking about what they're learning with their clients, because that's what takes up most of their time. Again, is this their fun little hobby, or is this their career? That's what you're trying to look out for. Do they have very little social proof? That's a big one. If they're talking about how good their program is, but like no one's ever leaving reviews, they don't have social proof, no one's having transformations, what's going on? One thing to, grain of salt, a lot of people aren't, some people sometimes aren't comfortable with their before and after photos being shared. So that could be a factor, but most people are totally fine with it because they want to show off their results. So if they don't have any social proof, that's a red flag. Is it dirt cheap? Red flag. Again, because if they're promising high level coaching, but they have a low level cost, a cookie cutter program cost, that means there is something that they are leaving out, that they're not being honest about, and they're cutting corners somewhere in their service to justify that cost. Usually cheaper is not better. Now let's talk about some things that do look good. Do they offer a high level of support? Are they willing to get on calls with you and meet with you regularly and brainstorm things with you? Are they sharing learnings from their coaching and training other clients and sharing how that applies to you on social media? Or again, are they just talking about the new cars that they're getting and whatever, right? Because if they're a good coach, they're spending most of their day coaching, and they should have a lot of things that they're learning and they can share with you. Do they have a ton of social proof? Are people leaving reviews, having before and after photos, talking about how much better their life is now? And is there a lot of value and buy-in in their service and what they're asking you, right? Because there's a huge psychological component with skin in the game, right? If you, like, I remember the first time I had help with a business mentor, right? The investment for that was significant. So much so where I was like, ooh, this is going to hurt. So I need to make this work. But I also, because it hurt, I immediately saw the value in it because I was like, oh, what they're providing me is insane. I would pay double for this, right? Are you getting that value from what they're offering you, right? Are you putting forth enough to be like, I got to make this freaking work, right? Or is it just like, it's $100 a month. What's the big deal? What's going to motivate you to change if you don't have a little fire under your butt, right? Okay, so this is example, like an overview of what I offer my clients, okay? The different phases that we generally try to go through. Now, again, this isn't a pre-made program, but this is a general framework of how I like to take my clients through things in order to get them the results that they want. Anywhere from building a foundation so they can have easier fat loss and muscle gain, to really getting precise with things so they can have predictable results week after week after week, to being able to learn and being coached through maintaining these results for years to come in the Forever Fit framework. Or, right, are you just working with somebody that's like, oh, you reached your goals, good luck, see you later. Hope you have a good time figuring out how to maintain it on your own. Because we don't have a weight loss problem. We have a weight management problem, a physique management problem. So your coach, whoever you pick, or your trainer needs to teach you how to effortlessly maintain these things year round, right? So that's what you need to consider. A few stories, like Eric. When he first came to me, he was working out on his own. He was busting his tail and really wasn't seeing the results he felt he should have been given the work that he was doing. Then I realized he wasn't paying attention to a few key things in his training, his nutrition, and his lifestyle. And so therefore was just kind of like throwing spaghetti at the wall and hoping something would stick. And I was pretty young at the time, so he was super apprehensive to working with me. But he was like, you know what? What I'm doing right now isn't working, so I'm going to give it a shot. He got in the best shape of his life, right? 10% body fat. He hadn't been that lean since high school, is what he told me. And it's been 7 years since we've worked together. And people are like, well, why are you sharing a story from 7 years ago? What about the recent ones? I text him at least twice a year to see how he's doing. He's maintained this for 7 years. He has maintained his body composition for 7 years using the skills and the frameworks that I taught him when we were working together. Like, that's significant. We could easily talk about someone who got in great shape, but then 3 months later, they're right back to where they started. Who freaking cares if that's the case, right? Alexa, she and I are still working together. She's very petite. She lost 14 pounds. For a petite woman, that's significant. That's a big percentage of her body weight. And she gained muscle while doing that. And she had been burned by other coaches in the past because she was going for the cheap option. She was going for the option that appealed most to her budget rather than the option that was going to give her the most value and help. So before we started working together, she was like, I don't know. I've been burned in the past. You're just another online coach. Like, what are you going to do? And now, or at that time, I was like, just give me a month. Just give me a month and I'll show you why it's different. And she's been working with me for like 2 years now. And she's still seeing insane results. Okay. So you just have to consider, what is this worth to me? Is it worth it? I hope this video was helpful. I hope you were able to get some insight and try to figure out what might be the next best step for you. Now, if you have further questions, my DMs on Instagram are always open. Feel free to shoot me a message. That link for my Instagram handle is in the description. And then, of course, if you want to book a call with me to talk more about what this could look like for you, you can do that in the description as well. We'll talk to you guys in the next video.